What is up, everybody? We are back, season 2, episode 2, with my very good friend, Bernice. And she is going to tell us everything there is to know about her area. Go for it, Bernice.
Well, first of all, I think I need to give you a little bit of background about what made me move to Richmond, because it was a very intentional move. So before Richmond, I was living in Boston, and we'd been living there. I was married then, so I'm going to say we were there for 10 years, and we were starting to get a little bit sick and tired of the winters. Like, we were like, oh my God, every winter, every weekend we are shoveling snow, which I'm sorry to say, that's probably what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and so not only that, but where we were living, it was, we were 5 people. That was like, 2 parents and 3 kids living in 1,100 square feet, 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and it was just like tight. And when we compared it to a lot of our friends, we felt like we had a big space because, some of them were even living in smaller spaces. But, when we compared to where I did live when I was growing up in Toronto, then I was like, oh gosh, we really, really need more space, especially when guests come over and you have to line up, outside your own bathroom. So we started to look at real estate, and, it seemed really, really expensive. Like, we would literally have to have doubled our mortgage just to get a bigger home, not necessarily with 1 extra bathroom, which we were really wanting to have an extra bathroom. So that takes us to Richmond. So that year, when we were starting to get really tired of all of that, we happened to have a family reunion here in Richmond, Virginia. And, I never thought of Richmond as a place to really live. I mean, I had visited a few times because I have cousins who live here, and, we used to, visit back and forth and stuff like that. But it always seemed like too small or something. I always thought of, big city, lots of culture, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think Richmond's like, for me. But then my cousins were like, hey, you know what? There's like a house for sale near us. Check it out, and I was like, no way. And literally I had like a jaw-dropping moment where I was like, no way. Like, it was like, to me, it was like so cheap. And not only that, but it was like, what, 2,500 square feet, 2.5 bathrooms,
Right.
4 bedrooms. And I was like, no way. Like, my brain kind of exploded. So yeah, that was kind of what really turned us to Richmond, was like the real estate prices and the choice of real estate. Not just that, but as I mentioned, the weather. I mean, I know I'm from Canada, and everybody's like, you're from Canada, but like, I'm like, no, but I'm cold. I'm cold. As I get old, I'm getting colder. I'm like, I need to move south. And um so the weather was really, really appealing, and the choice of homes was just super appealing. Like, I was like, we can be rich in Richmond. It was literally like 3 times the home, literally 3 times the home for the same price. So that was like, wow.
Now, would you say that that has stayed true now after, how long ago was that? When did you transplant there?
So that was 2010, so that was 2010. And would I say it's about the same, like 3 times the house? You know what? It really depends on the neighborhood, I guess. Yes, you can still get that, and it depends on which neighborhood you're talking about. Like, Boston or any city has all sorts of different pockets, and, but generally speaking, I would say at least 2 to 4 times. And especially if I compare, like, with my hometown in Toronto, my parents still live there. I still go back, and I'm like, I'm like, it's great. Like, it's such a great city. It's such a beautiful city. It's so multicultural, and there's so much wonderful food. But trying to buy a house there right now would be so burdensome. Like, there's nothing good for, like, you're like close to $1 million is like a starter home. I'm like, no way. Come on, man. Like, put your eyes on Richmond, people.
Yeah.
Like, really, like,
Yeah.
so it really depends. So I still have these moments where I have to compare, like, how much would this cost in Boston, or how much would this cost in Richmond? So yeah, depending on, like, I would say anywhere from 2 to 4 times, you're getting the value there. So it's just like, it was a no-brainer, just no-brainer. I had people, people like, they have like favorite homes already. And like, they put favorites, like how many favorite homes did you have? And I had literally 87 favorite homes because I could not, there was like no bad homes. And, you know, I was super excited. It just like, there was just, oh, wow. And this is a great home too. And I love this one. And I love this. And
So plenty of great homes. What's the entertainment value like over there? What is there to do in Richmond? When you moved to Richmond, what was the first thing you had to adjust for? I don't think Virginia has a professional hockey team, so you had to give up the Boston Bruins.
yeah.
Does Virginia even have a professional baseball team? Virginia's pretty short on sports, huh?
Well, okay, look. So
What's
first of all,
happening
I'm
there?
not a big sports person. So like I like to play sports, but not necessarily spectate. But trust me when I say that there are lots of sports fans here. So college sports is big, and also of course we have DC right there, and the Nationals, whatever. But
Okay, so you guys
you
take
know,
credit for
but
the Capitals. Got it.
but
Okay.
that's not why we moved here. So like the weather, the real estate, and I will tell you though, it is like here's one of the things. Here's one of the weird things. So my ex-husband moved here first. We were married, of course. So he was my then husband moved here first, and kind of like settled in while I was like packing up and selling the house back in Boston. And when I got here, he was like waving to people, like rando people, like don't know them. And I was like, do you know that person? Like, and he's like, no. And I was like, why are you waving to them? He's like, because that's what people do here. You gotta wave to people, otherwise you look really unfriendly. And I was like, what? Because if you know anything about Boston, like you don't, that's not like the culture there. In fact, like you very
Yeah.
likely could get yelled at. Like I've not
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
spat on my car in Boston, like literally spat on my car. So it's like totally different. Like the South, you're like, hello, like I don't know you, but I'm gonna say hello, and they're saying hello back, and it's like, am I in like some weird movie? Anyway, but you get used to it, and it's like kind of nice, it's nice. But it's
It's got to
like,
be easier to. It got to be easier to make a friend, right?
oh, totally. Yeah. So I like to say it's like the best of like two worlds, like a small town and big city. It's like the best of two worlds. So
I love it.
so there's stuff to do though. There really is. Like I post like on our website, we post the top 5 things to do in Richmond every weekend. And we get
Okay.
it from like richmond.com. Like they post it and then we post it. And there's something to do every weekend, and it's fun. Like it's a great place to raise kids, and my kids had a great time. They had the childhood I wanted,
That's
here. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I've done. I spent a summer in Roanoke. Where where they have that big light up star. I don't even know if it's still there anymore.
Oh,
But they had like a
I
big
heard
light up
that.
star in Roanoke. And then yeah, that was really everything for Virginia. But huge outdoor. I mean, tons of hiking and mountain biking, and I mean, you can stay pretty active as far as that stuff goes. I would imagine, right?
Oh, totally. Well, okay. First of all, there's the James River, and that's kind of similar to Boston in that we have the Charles River in Boston, but the James River, first of all, because it's colder, I should say, in Boston. I mean, the James River year round, you're gonna have people. I mean, and that's the same with Boston in some ways, but it's just less miserable. That brings people out, and there's you're within driving distance to mountains. There's freaking like waterfalls. There's caves. I mean, there's beaches of all types. Lake, river, ocean. So you're close proximity to everything. There's still a lot of green. Like one of the big culture shocks is there's so many trees, like so many trees. Like how we have like snow banks. Well, there are like leaf banks. Like it's like the leaves constantly fall and fall and fall, and there's so much. Anyway, so that's like something, it's something different. I mean, some people love that, and I'd rather have leaves than snow, maybe, so.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I don't think you're shoveling leaves, but that's nice. That sounds lovely. So let's talk about the cost of living then. So I know that you can get a good bang for your buck. What about like property taxes in that area? Are property taxes, would you find affordable?
dang affordable.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what the percentage is over there, but like in my county, it's 0.87. Okay, so like basically it's like way cheaper. So I think like it's like really affordable. I don't know.
Yeah, so for people outside of New York that don't really
Yeah.
understand that too well, because we just tax by the hell of it. We don't even have a percentage. Would you say that a $400,000 house, would it be about $3,000 a year in
Yes.
property taxes? Okay,
Mhm.
so
Well, 3,000 maybe. So obviously it's based on the assessment,
yeah,
and the
of
tax
course.
assessment is generally lower than the actual price you pay for the home.
Okay,
Generally, I mean, so yeah, I'd say it would be about that.
great. And
Yeah, so it's really great.
what about the characteristics? You touched on it a little before. You said the most adorable homes and things like that. What are some specific characteristics that you won't find? You know, being up north, a lot of us have basements and stuff. And I find as I move throughout the country, you find that basements disappear, they pop back up in some places. You get basements over there. What do you got for characteristics?
No, we don't. And that was a weird thing because I mean, we had I like up until I moved here, I had basements all my life. Um, but there aren't a lot of basements. There are some, but not a lot. And generally the homes that do have them they have them because, there's the hill, there's the different grade. And the other thing we don't have, which is kind of odd to me, is there's not a lot of sidewalks. Now, you gotta take that with a grain of salt because there are some communities where they've decided, okay, we're gonna have sidewalks, and they definitely, there's definitely some of those. But my community does not have a sidewalk. We lately, like in the last like 3 years, they drew like a line, on the street. That's our sidewalk. Like it's kind of like a
Yeah.
bike, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah. So Long Island did something very similar where I am because I'm not actually in the city. I'm still an hour and 45 minutes outside of Manhattan, down on Long Island. And on Long Island, we have designated bike lanes, but there's no sidewalks and not for anything here. I'm pretty sure that it's a ticketable offense to ride your bike on the sidewalk here in New York. That's yeah, so we're very similar here, and the communities that do, and this is something that people should note. Most communities with sidewalks tend to pay higher property taxes for the communities that don't. So sometimes there is a saving for not having the sidewalks because when the city has to upkeep those sidewalks, the taxes are generally a little higher.
sure.
So yeah, you're able to save some money if you don't need a sidewalk.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, there's something else. There's something else I need to tell you about.
yeah.
We don't have many street lamps.
Okay. All
So
right.
when it gets dark, it is dark. And when you're like middle aged and up, it's dang dark. Like you're like taking out glasses and stuff like that. Or at least I am, because I'm like, I got my nighttime driving glasses on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel your pain. It's getting to that point now where I'm like, is that the street I was looking for? It's a little dark now. So on that, what about 55 and older communities? That's actually not a question I ask often enough, especially because I feel as though this show will be geared towards people who are getting ready to retire and move out. You have a lot of 55 and older communities where people can kind of blend in with, more retired people.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot around almost every area of Richmond offers something. And there's more and more, like with new construction, there's often either, a section of homes will be, okay, you've got the first floor primary living situation, or sometimes there's like choices, with the models, like, okay, you're going to have 5 different models, and one of them or two of them might have first floor living situations. Or there are full communities where, okay, this is a 55 plus community, and you need to have at least one buyer who qualifies, for that. And a lot of times they have really interesting amenities. Like one community where I have at least 2 clients in, there's a farm on there, like a working farm where the residents can work the farm, if they want to, and grow grow veg, help grow vegetables, help grow whatever fruits. I don't know if there's fruits, but there's definitely vegetables, and
Yeah.
there's chickens that wander around, and it's really like it's only 20 minutes from the city. It's not that far, and so there's always activities and events and stuff like that that are planned, and it just really attractive to people who are thinking, hey, I don't want to do these stairs anymore. And that was literally one of my clients. She could barely go down the stairs. There were, she had to use both hands, and every step she took, I was having a heart attack thinking she's going to tumble down the stairs any minute. But, and I was so happy when she didn't have any more stairs. I'm sure she was even happier, that she didn't have to do stairs anymore. But yeah, there's lots of great communities.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I really like that. That sounds nice, actually. I like that farm aspect. That's pretty cool.
Isn't that neat? I think that's really creative. That's
Yeah.
like kind of different,
Yeah, my grand would have enjoyed that. She grew up on a farm, so that would have been good for her. She would have liked that. So for those moving down there that have young families, though, what are the community likes with let's say entertainment and things? You said 15 minutes outside of the city. So for us up here in New York, outside of the city has a little bit of different meaning as it did back in Boston. Would you say the commute in and out of the city of Richmond is equivalent to the commute in and out of the city of Boston, or you get a little bit of a break there?
Oh my gosh, no. It is so different. Well, first of all, we don't have the level of public transportation that the bigger cities offer. Like there's no subway system, for example. There are buses, but it's not exactly to the same, degree that the buses and run in bigger cities. So it's a little bit more sparse, I'm going to say. But in terms of like things to do, offerings for young families, there's tons. There's probably like festivals and events and lots of free stuff for families. Like there's gardens and like kind of like petting zoo type things, like botanical gardens. The botanical garden's not free, but there's another one called Maymont that is free or by donation, that kind of thing. There's outside entertainment because the weather is so temperate here, and there's like outdoor malls. Like we never had that in Boston or Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Where the mall is partially outdoors and you're walking around and it's outside and it's really pretty. And and there's like live plantings like growing all over the place, and it's really, really nice. So there's a lot of music, and like wineries, cideries, local breweries. Like that's really, really popular here in Richmond. And in fact, a lot of breweries like provide entertainment, like food trucks, music, artists. There's one that basically has it built in where they have a whole huge outdoor space where people just hang out. You almost feel like you're on a resort, like there's stuff to do, and like even at night you can rent like a fire pit or something like that. And when it's getting cooler, or there are little gazebos, or what's that beanbag? I'm like at a loss. What is that beanbag game?
Oh, cornhole?
Yes, cornholes. That. Anyway, yeah, there's that, and I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. There's lots of, yeah, like I said, lots of festivals. So near the water, down like kind of closer to the city, there's like there's like little, I'm going to call them islands. They're called like Brown's Island, or where there's just lots of events and stuff, and you just have to look like on richmond.com and like under the events section, and there's like so many things that you can do.
Or you go to happynewbeginnings.com and you check out their site and take a look at
absolutely
your list of things to do.
Yeah. And our Facebook page, that's where we post the top 5 weekend activities.
Good.
So.
Good. Go to their Facebook page as well. That sounds lovely. You touched on it, but we didn't fully dive into it. Can we talk about the weather real quick? People moving out of New York, obviously, yourself included, leaving Boston. You mentioned snow a couple of times. Don't get a lot of snow down there in Virginia?
Yes. Okay. So if you love snow, you might be hurting a little here, but because like the first winter, I have to tell you, like people shoveled leaves. So you were saying people don't shovel leaves, but people actually shovel leaves and they sweep snow. Okay, so like the first winter, I literally just took my broom out and I even took a video because I was like, I am sweeping the snow off my little walkway here, and that's all we have. That's all
Oh
there
my
is.
gosh.
Sweeping it off,
All right. Fair enough.
you
Fair
know.
enough.
But yeah, so it does get hot here. So um, it's hot and humid. Um, there are mosquitoes, but there are lots of ways to like get around that. But I don't know. It's lush. It's lush here. It's beautiful. It's like flowers start popping up, in February. And some actually, I just saw on someone's Facebook page today that she was taking a walk and she said, I just have to showcase these beautiful yellow. I think they're called. I'm gonna get it wrong now, but forsythia.
Okay.
They're yellow flowers. They're little yellow flowers, and they were popping up.
Okay.
And there's they're gonna start popping up through the ground.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah. So as we head into the true heart of winter and start getting snow here, you're getting ready to start seeing daisies popping out through the ground. Amazing. What about food, right? Because as you know, people are always concerned, can they get their local comfort? So Long Islanders are big on Target and things of such like that. So you got your local comforts, your Starbucks, your Targets, and things like that in a normal driving distance.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. Everything like so in Richmond. You're okay. First of all, if you live in, kind of a populated area versus like a rural area, and then you're going to probably be within 5 to 10 minutes of like any of those big box stores. I mean, I live in an area called Short Pump, and it's literally 5 minutes from, take your pick, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, any number of restaurants, any number of gyms. So it's super, super
So
convenient.
is employment pretty easy to find down there? Can you find
Oh, yeah.
jobs if you're
Yes,
relocating down there and you want to find a job, get yourself settled before you join Bernice's real estate team?
they're practically begging you to work here. Yes. I mean, again, I can't speak to every level, but like definitely at entry level, there's a lot of opportunities. It depends on, what you're looking for at what level. But there are lots of businesses here, large businesses. There's a lot of even like we import nurses, like there's a lot of travel nurses that come here because we don't have enough, that kind of thing. We have universities, here, and so there's everything. It's just it depends on what you want. I mean, I just say, hey, if you don't have a job and you live in somewhere more expensive, just sell your one house, buy two or three here, and go ahead and cash flow those until you can sell till you do have find a job. Like
Yeah,
that is literally the easiest thing you could do if you wanted to do that, or just upgrade like big time.
a
Like
hundred percent.
your $700,000 over there will get you like your eyes will like probably fall out of your head if you look at what you can get for seven hundred thousand
Oh,
dollars.
trust me. Every time somebody needs a little quick reminder of just how bad they have it in New York, they hop on a website of Remax or something, and they type in Asheville, North Carolina,
Right. Yeah.
Richmond, Virginia, right,
Yeah.
Tennessee, and you could get a real picture as to how much further your house value goes outside of the state of New York. So, general cost of living. You mentioned entry level jobs, which always brings me to entry level housing. Right, they go one hand in hand. So are there apartments available for people that want to move there and rent? And if there are apartments, what would you say like a one bedroom, one bathroom apartment if you had to move in tomorrow? Could you find something like $1,500 if you were looking for it?
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. So again, rents have also gone up as we all know. I mean, rents actually went up in some places much higher than the home prices, frankly. And the home prices did jump here too. I mean, just like everywhere else, they did jump. But if you're renting, you definitely are feeling the squeeze, and
Yeah.
so it becomes then, well, now if the opportunity is available, what is the lesser of the two evils, really? You can definitely find a rental market is I think just like any other place can be competitive. Like it's weird, but now we're in this weird, very competitive rental market where some people will pay over than what the landlord is asking even just to
Well, and
get.
I can maybe shed some light on that for you. If you're leaving the state of New York right now and you live in downstate New York, anywhere between Manhattan and Long Island, you cannot find a one bedroom, one bathroom Long Island apartment right now for less than $2,500. Right? So if you were to try and get, let's say, an entry level job working at a retail store like Best Buy or something like that, that was one of my first jobs, right? So to get into like one of those type jobs where you would get in entry level and then start trying to figure out how you're going to budget your $2,500, $3,000 a month income and rent's non-existent for less than 2,500 bucks, like you're forced into all sorts of living situations. And I hate to say it this way, but like we're exposing people unnecessarily to things that they don't really need to be exposed to through like shared housing and stuff like that. And it's coming out of this pandemic of like, there's no place to live. And it's been that way since COVID. So, all the rentals got scooped up. Anything affordable is gone. I'm renting a house right now, which is 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's going to go for 5,200 a month. That's the lease amount, right? And I could only imagine that, $5,000 a month in Virginia would probably get me the governor's mansion. But it's the reason why I started this show is because I believe, people like my parents are completely pigeonholed into their home. I try to shed light on this topic because it makes me feel really bad for somebody in my parents' position. But at the same time, we need to help and educate people and help them understand why there is a housing shortage. There's a housing shortage in America right now for 2 reasons. We can't build them fast enough, and the ones that we are building are not accommodating to those who are looking to retire and downsize. Right? It doesn't help anyone when we continue to build 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom houses, and then those buyers buy those houses. My parents own a 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom house. Right now, between their rental income and their Social Security income, their overhead is only about 600 bucks a month on that entire house. If they were to sell it and downsize, there is no place on Long Island where they could live for less than $1,500 per month. And that's with the land lease on a mobile home community here in Long Island is $1,025 a month just for the land lease, which is
Wow.
equivalent to $12,000 a year property taxes. So even if you buy the mobile home outright for $100,000, you're still looking at paying an $1,100 a month land lease just inside of a mobile home community with no amenities or any kind of perks or any kind. So for 55 and older community here on Long Island, they are struggling and pigeonholed into their homes. And here on Long Island, we cannot develop. We are at our max. Our sewage infrastructure doesn't allow it, and we're an island, so we're out of room. We can either start ripping down things and rebuilding them, but we are out of room for new construction at a mass scale. So my parents, unless they want to leave the state of New York, must stay in their 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom house with just the 2 of them. And that's really the crime, right? Because there's a family out there right now struggling to get into their school district that want a 4 bedroom, 3 bath house, and it's not on the market for them. And it's not on the market because we've created zero opportunity for the older generation to be able to retire from their homes, not just their jobs. There's zero places to go. So you in Virginia and things as such like that will see a massive increase in people coming down and looking to rent because you have the opportunity to work away from New York City and still take your New York City salary with you. And you might be trying to figure it out. And B, a lot of people from New York that can't afford and have been drained dry of all their resources. So they don't have a down payment anymore. Their home equity's been eaten up. They're going to be looking for those rentals. So stay patient with those people because I'm telling you, I foresee every place within at least 8 to 10 hours driving distance of New York is going to really start to see a massive increase in rentals because when you can drive home on a weekend to come and see your kids for a long weekend and then drive back, makes a huge difference to the people leaving New York. So hopefully Bernice and I are able to shed some light on this for everybody watching right now. So if you're considering leaving the state of New York, I think Virginia should really be towards the top of your list for a few reasons outside of just the cost of it. Traffic's minimal, right? The one thing that I always forget to ask, because I know it is my parents who are in their 70s, it's their number one concern. What are the hospitals like? Is there a hospital within a few minutes distance that they could get to easily?
Yes, there are so many hospitals here. Absolutely.
Any VA hospitals for the veterans out there that
Yes,
are listening
yes,
to
there
our show?
yes, there is. And
Yeah.
so, you've mentioned something interesting. So the rental, there's actually a pretty new building that's a 55 plus rental community, and it's I remember seeing it built. I remember, like, I did the hard hat tour and everything, and it was really, really exciting. It's really close to me here in Short Pump, and I have at least 4 clients who are living there, and they're super happy because, well, first of all, it's independent living completely, right? So it's not like they're going into a retirement community, and it's so much, even though it's not cheap by any means, but by your standards it would be like, it's like $2,500 probably a month or something like that, for a standard 2 bedroom. But there's amenities, there's like a lot of planned activities, and it's just a really good vibe. Like, I go back every now and then. I visit one of my clients who's especially social, and she hosts something. This is not, the community hosting it, but she hosts like a Saturday breakfast, like every Saturday. And I mean, and she's got her little group that comes up and goes to her little apartment. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, people create their own community, but there's also lots of planned events, and it is literally like walking distance to a grocery store. Like, the grocery store is right across the street. So it's very, very convenient. And I remember one of my clients who was thinking about moving there. And she said, I mean, it's just me by myself at home. And how many times can I clean the kitchen? And I just walk from room to room, and I've got nothing to do. So I'm really looking forward to being in this community.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that's what we want for our clients, right? Make sure that we put them in a place, in a home where they feel like they're getting more out of it than just 4 walls, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's what's most important to both of us. I know that we see eye to eye on that one. Well, that's a lot of information. Is there anything else that you could think of that we should touch on about Virginia that we didn't cover?
Well, so I never really got to say anything about the food scene. So coming from Toronto, originally, I will say that there are some fantastic restaurants here. But I will say that if you're coming from a really, really big city like New York or Toronto, you're going to find it to be smaller. But smaller is not necessarily worse. It just means that there are some great places. You got to find them. And in fact, like, the amazing thing is, I remember this article came out, where it said that we're one of the top 10 foodie cities, apparently. So I was like, wow, okay, that's really cool. And yeah, we do have a great scene here, a great and growing scene.
What's your favorite restaurant? Give people a recommendation. If they're in town for one night and they got to pick a place to eat in Richmond, Virginia, where would you tell them?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Don't think about other people. Just think about yourself. If you had to eat one night.
If you're just in town for
one night.
Then you
passing through.
I would say that you have to go, even though it's a franchise. There's a restaurant called the Boathouse, and it's on the water downtown. And so that, just for the view, and just for the vibe, would be a great one. There's another one I had to mention, Brenner Pass, that won a bunch of awards, and it's just fantastic food. Again, really cool vibe there. We have a lot of really cool restaurants, and I'm going to tell you something. I have to confess something. I have not been to probably even half of them. So, I need to get out more. But I
Yeah.
get, I've been to both of those for sure.
Yes. To all of Bernice's friends and family watching her episode right now, take her out to lunch. She needs to explore some more places to go and eat, a couple more dinners as well. So definitely, what is Virginia known for as far as food goes? I mean, you're in the South. Is it barbecue? Do
Ooh,
you guys throw down in
grits,
the barbecue? Grits? Okay, you heard it here. Grits.
grits. I
Grits.
mean, okay, like I didn't even know what that really was, coming from. Do you know what that is?
I only know what grits are from my cousin Vinny with Joe Pesci when he plays the attorney and he has to talk them out of it and he asks the guy how long it takes to make proper grits. So
Uh-huh.
that's about my extensive knowledge on grits
All
comes
right.
from my cousin Vinny.
Like it's like a corn. Okay, I'm gonna totally butcher this. The people who are legit from the South are gonna be like, no, girl, no. But it's like a cornmeal type of thing. But like when it's not just for breakfast, like people have shrimp and grits. Like it can be savory as well, and it's fantastic. It's like a. I'm not gonna say rice because it's not like rice, but it's just like a. It's really kind of like a, yeah, like a cornmeal. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
sound very good, but
I
it's
would
like
say
really
I would say to anybody who's listening and doesn't know what grits look like, first off, just Google it. Second off, though, I would probably put it up there with like a porridge consistency, almost like an
yes,
oatmeal.
it totally
Um,
is. That's the
yeah,
word.
but it is grainy.
Yes.
It's got a grain to it, and if you cook it al dente like pasta, it'll have a little bit of bite to it, or you could overcook it and it's going to end up like
Yeah.
mashed potatoes and be very soft. So
It can be very creamy, kind of like
yeah,
mashed potatoes, but like
yeah,
if people cook it with milk or
yeah.
yeah, so it can be rich as well, you know. And
So
yeah,
in
so
true Southern fashion, grits, biscuits, gravy.
yes.
Okay, get the Cracker Barrel breakfast in while you're down there. Because
No,
we
I
don't
think
have one.
I can't even say it.
It's there's like nothing. There's no Cracker Barrels like
Cracker
north of like Pennsylvania or something like that. So I feel like it's always a thing. But other than that, I personally, Virginia's always been big on my list as far as sending people to. And the reason being is not just from the summer that I spent there and had good memories with, but as you do look at, the map, if you're looking to keep it on the East Coast and you don't want to go to North Carolina with the rest of the New Yorkers and you don't want to go to Florida with all the New York transplants, I think Virginia is an ideal place for you guys to end up. And you should not go there unless you're going to call Bernice and let her show you around Richmond, Virginia and give you a good tour. Anything you guys want, where do they find you, Bernice?
Sure. Well, you can either call me or text me at 804-874-8890 or go to happynewbeginnings.com because we create happy new beginnings. So we would love to have you. We specialize in transplants because I myself and a few others on my team are transplants ourselves. We know what that's like. We even have a special book for you written by a Richmond local called Really Richmond. And it's really cool. It's got everything that I didn't tell you that I don't even know, but it's an awesome resource. And we sit down with you with a map of Richmond. We try to explain it to you, and so you feel like you're not going in, blind. You got your eyes wide open. And we really, really love Richmond here, and we love to share it with people who are coming here.
Great. That's awesome. Guys, you know where to find me. If you want to sell your house here in New York and get the heck out and go down and see our good friend Bernice down in Virginia, you should absolutely do so. But call me, call Bernice. We'll get you set up. Best thing is we know how to communicate with each other so we can make sure that your closing date up here lines up with your closing date down there and you don't end up homeless, living out of your car waiting for your new house to close. So if you want to make sure you do it right, give us both a call. Bernice, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's on the later side, so I'm going to let you get to it. I'm sure you haven't eaten dinner yet or anything like that, so we definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony, and I look forward to meeting you.
Yes.